Hi, this is Jacqueline here with the Grow Program. Thank you for growing with me on today. I see you down there in Texas. I see you growing in Georgia and Kentucky, Oregon. I see Germany. I see Bangladesh. I see Russia. Just want to do a few shout outs. But I see you. I see you growing. I see you growing in love. And we are trying to reach our greatness in God. We are going to. We ain't trying to. We going to. We going to reach our greatness just like the great mountain off in the distance in the Colorado Rockies. Those beautiful mountains that sit up there. They don't sit up there by themselves. They spread because they too heavy and they begin to spread, and that's love. So that's what happening now. We spreading love with the Grow Program. We spreading love all over the world. And honey, I'm gonna tell you something. Today I have been in awe of God because I've came a long way from the time when the Grow Program first started in the house. And wow, it's been a journey, honey. And now I'm telling you, God done blessed me. God done blessed me with my own place again. Me and my baby. And that's it. Me and my daughter, and trying to get her back together. But she all right. But God is blessing us. And I am just in awe. I've been in awe all day. And that's why I just kind of trying to let things sink in a little bit, because God done blessed us in to get a beautiful, beautiful place. And my daughter has her upstairs again to herself. And I got a beautiful, great big tree, beautiful bush. It's a bush that sits right outside my window. And in that bush is all different color birds that keep coming in there. And I can't believe God. And the light of God sets down in my living room every afternoon. So I get to watch it go down. And that is so beautiful. I get to watch it go around the world as it begins to go down, to spread on other parts of the world. That's the light of God. That's love. And so God has really been blessing me, because I made a promise to God that I was going to push the movement. Honey, this is what's important to me, is to grow, to reach my greatness in God, to help you to reach your greatness in God on the way to genuine equality. And we're going to spread the love to as many people as possible. We're going to try to rise and overcome this oppression, overcome the evil, because we know the evil is still out there doing the evil is still out there working. Different things going on. I'm telling you, parents, you need to take your children off TikTok, and talk to them. We just had a young man here who's on life support because of a TikTok challenge. And so we need to talk to our children and tell them you can't be a copycat, you can't be a follower. Don't want to try something dangerous. That's dangerous. And we gotta begin to think better. We gotta begin to act better, so we can begin to live better and teach our children to do better. Teach our children to rise. I'm gonna tell you something about this house. I love this house. Now this house older than the other house. This house was built in 1800s. But I'm gonna tell you something about this one. Ain't no evil in here, honey. This house, I feel love in here. And I'm gonna tell you, I had a vision of this house. And well, one thing about this house that I'm getting used to it, is the pipes clang in here. They just like somebody hitting them. They just keep clanging them like somebody. But I just get used to it. Don't bother me, honey. I'm telling you, I just praise the Lord. I'm so thankful that I'm here. I'm right in front of the highway, right in front of it, so I can see and talk about the highway. It's a main street, but it's just like the highway. They treat it like the highway, and it's a 4-lane road. So, and I'm telling you, right across the street from my favorite restaurant, right around Here from the grocery store. I don't have to drive anywhere. Everything's right here. I can walk to the park, walk everywhere. Everywhere is right here. I mean, God looked out for us. God blessed us. And in the meantime, I kept on with the movement. See, because, I'm trying to reach people. And in the meantime, we still reaching people, honey. We still growing. We didn't came up on 2 more countries. We got Gambia and Bangladesh. We are growing in Gambia and Bangladesh. So I praise the Lord for that. I'm so happy about that. I'm happy to see that we are growing and we are reaching people, and people are overcoming in love. We begin to rise. Africans have touched too many lives. We've built up all over the world, but the motherland is deteriorating and the motherland is suffering. And that breaks my heart. So that's the purpose of the Grow program, honey. We getting ready to build up in the motherland. Infrastructure, all that kind of stuff. I want to see all that happen. And I'm speaking it out, so I'm manifesting it. It's going to happen. The beloved ancestors are making it work. Because I'm telling you something, I'm sent here for a purpose. I'm sent here to lift my people. I'm not sent here to be defined up under no marriage or being defined under this country. I'm that's why I had to disconnect. I really did. I had to mentally disconnect and begin to rearrange my focus, because like I was telling them on Facebook, honey, it used to be a time where I used to run and chase up after me and my husband, because he was out doing stuff. So I had to see what was going on. And now I'm going to chase up after God. I'm going to keep my focus on the Lord, because God then gave me a mission, and that's to grow. So I'm married to the movement. And anything else would distract for that. It would distract from that. It would take away from that. And I wouldn't be able to do it. He'll be getting jealous and stuff. And plus, I don't even want to be bothered. I'm telling you, honey, I don't want to be bothered at all. I don't want to be defined anymore. Even once my daughter leave home, I just don't want to be bothered. I want to grow. I'm going to keep doing the movement. I'm going to keep pushing the movement. Because my people need me. I don't need to be going off doing nothing different. My people need me, and I'm going to push the movement. We are going to grow over this oppression. We are going to come out with substance. We are going to rise, and we are going to take our royal and not inferior position in this world, the way it's supposed to be. Africans are next to God. We are godly people. All we want is to love and to love and be accepted, and to get love. That's what we want. That's all. We're beautiful people. Royalty, warriors, kings and queens, descendants of kings and queens, descendants of royalty. So we got to begin to transform, because we're really legends. And all legends aren't famous, but we're really legends. Transformed by renewing of our mind, here to serve the Lord. Here for the purpose of God's work and God's people, here to lift one another up. And I realize, I'm telling you something, it's been a journey even with the Grow program. Because if you listen to the Grow program in the beginning, I'm talking about some other different things, but I'm also trying to encourage you, lift you up, tell you I love you. But here we go with Dr. King's message, the freedom fighters, the ancestors. The ancestors have always been there with me. Even I'm telling you something, I done went through a storm this last time, honey. It wasn't nothing but God that pulled me through. And I'm telling you, it's hard. The oppression is hard. It's hard dealing with it. Even when you bring it upon yourself, it is so hard. Lord, look what I done. Look what I done got myself into. Lord, please, help me get out of this. I ain't getting back in no mess. And I'm telling you something. And that's for real, honey. Because I'm not going to looking for no more problems. I done had enough. And I want a stress-free life. I want to grow. I want to help my people. It's about, and at the same time, just focus on me, because in my happiness, I had to find my happiness within, and I found it. And I want to focus on the Lord and focus on God's people, and just and meditate and get closer and closer in my walk with God, as close as I possibly can here on this earth, and get the wisdom and the knowledge, and to help us to continue to propel this movement and bring more and more people on board, because this is the end. Growth is the end of the civil rights movement. It is. I'm telling you, I'm a little tomorrow I'm gonna be raring to go. I'm telling you, I'm just, today I'm really in awe of God. What God has done for me, honey. I mean, I can look at the light of God every afternoon that it shines. Every afternoon. And the birds, my friends that visit me. I wrote that poem on my website about the birds. And the birds send messages from the ancestors, all different colored birds in this bush, and it's just beautiful. And it really is. When you can take the time out from the TV, the chaos, negativity, and drama, and focus on the Lord and the Lord's beauty, and meditate on God, it really is a beautiful thing. When you can take a few minutes out of your day, at least 10 or 15 minutes, and give to God. I devote to God all day long, and lifting God's people and being a God servant. Not being a man servant like I was. Focus on other things that are not even important. Because I'm gonna tell you something. You can run after this and run after that. But if you ain't got God, you ain't got nothing. Don't none of it matter. It don't matter, because you can't take it with you, and you in a big rush to go and get nothing and to go nowhere. And I see it all day long. I mean, people be ready to run into you, honey. But I just thank the Lord that now in the weather changing, I really don't have to drive if I don't want to. I really don't. I can take walks and meditate on God. Go sit at the park, record the podcast when the wind allow me to. Because, see, the wind is God changing direction. God is moving. You can think God gave up on you in your circumstance, but he ain't gave up, honey. During the times when the oppression really got to me, when I was sitting there crying, I had a dark moment. When I'm sitting there really crying, I felt the spirits around me telling me it's going to be all right. Telling me to keep on going. Keep recording the podcast. Keep lifting people up. Because, look, they were in the background working, honey. Got us a beautiful... I couldn't even pick it out better if I had done it myself. It's beautiful. And right by everything. And she's so happy. So the smile is becoming to, is beginning to come back on her face. And I'm going to tell you something. I used to listen to, years ago, I used to listen to Dr. Laura. And Dr. Laura said something. And I used to agree with everything she said. But she said something. And she said that when you're a single parent, you should focus on raising your child instead of trying to remarry someone or find someone else to marry. And I used to think that didn't even make sense. I'm like, why you won't stay single for the next 18 years or 10 years or whatever? But you know what? She really had a point. You need to focus on your children and yourself, because somebody come along, just like a narcissistic person, come along and wipe you out, honey, and take everything that you have and leave you destitute and emotionally destitute, leaving you without, raw, and it took a lot, but it took God for me to overcome, for me to rise, and for me to realize that I know that God is in my corner and God is working it out in my favor, honey. As long as I keep my eyes focused on him, as long as I keep doing the work of the Lord, as long as I keep my focus on God. And don't let nothing distract me. Don't get distracted by the spiritual warfare. The evil is out there. The evil is working. And I know it is. The evil is right around the corner. The evil was right outside the door. The evil was right up the steps. I'm telling you, the evil is out there. It is. But you got to keep on. We're greater. We're greater than the evil in this world. So you got to keep on. Walk in power. God don't give us a sense of fear. He give us a sense of power. Walk in power because he's greater than all the evil in the world. He is. And so, we don't have to focus on that. We can rise above that and begin to do better. Don't be a part of that spiritual warfare, and don't keep on saying Jesus gonna forgive me. I'm keep on doing, but Jesus gonna, no, we're not gonna keep doing that because you are forgiven, but at the same time, there's a word called accountability, and God gonna hold you in account because He see that you really ain't trying to do better. You just want to keep saying that, Lord have mercy. Really, how much mercy you think God got? Really, it's time to get right because tomorrow is not promised. It really ain't. And then once we leave here, we got to go to the spirit world and be judged. We're gonna be judged by our heart. It don't matter what you did all in church, and it don't matter what you did for the pastor. If your heart ain't right and you ain't right, let me tell you something. The judges are in the afterlife. Not this life. It ain't the motherboard. It ain't the pastor. It ain't the praise and worship team. It ain't the people sitting out there looking at y'all crazy every time you turn around. It ain't none of them. The judges are in the afterlife, honey. Not here. So, you got to give an account to God how you do His people. That's why I'm trying to fix these folks. I'm trying to get these people off this crooked path and straighten them up. Have them branched up right in the Lord and growing up right in God. Because, see, you ain't growing right in God. You got God all twisted. God don't condone your actions and how you doing your brother and how you doing your sister and how you acting out here. God ain't condoning that. It's time to get better. That's why ain't nothing being blessed. That's why ain't nothing going right and nothing gonna go right until you get it right. You got to get right first. Because God ain't gonna bless no mess. And I'm telling you, people, I'm going to talk to you because I love you. So I'm talking to you like my best friend, my sister, somebody, because I love you. I want you to get right. I want you to make it. I want you to reach your greatness. I want you to overcome. I want you to win the battle. It's a battle of good and evil, and you can overcome it. You can make it. You can. But you got to believe it. And, but you got to hold on. It's as hard as it is. The oppression is hard. You got to hold on to God's unchanging hand. Because I had a very dark period. I did. I had a dark period, but I cried out to the Lord. And God sent His beloved ancestor, my beloved ancestor. He sent guardian angels. He sent them, honey. I felt the spirits. I meditated to the spirit because look, I'm telling you, but if it weren't for God, honey, I don't have nothing. I don't have anything without God. I don't. I thought I did. I thought I had something long time ago and never had nothing. Ain't had nothing without God. That truck don't make you, and ain't gonna break you. I'm telling you something. It's God, honey. You need to seek the happiness within. Don't seek happiness within stuff. Don't seek happiness within people. Don't seek happiness within money. Money is the root of all evil, and money don't bring you happiness. It really don't. You need to look at some famous people who got money and they was not happy. So that's why you got to find the happiness within. That's what grow is. Getting on your spiritual walk with God and finding your true happiness within the Lord. Allowing God to order your steps. Sit back and let God do it. Let God handle it. Let God take over. You stop running it in the ground because you running your highway of life into the ground. Allow God to do it. Greatness reached over oppression through wisdom all over the world. I want you to know that I love you, and I want you to know that you can get through this. You got through the other stuff with God. You can get through this. Look over your highway of life. Look over your journey and see how far the Lord done brought you. So we're going to reach our greatness. We're going to rise, people. I love you. And it probably will be some more episodes tomorrow, honey, because I'm telling you, I just got to let it sink in for a minute. What all God has done for me in these past 5 months since I've been growing. These past 6 months since I've been growing. And I'm telling you, they say it's going to get greater later. And it's later. It's later. And it's getting ready to get greater. It's greater already because God is working it out. The wind is changing. The wind is shifting direction, and the Lord is working, honey. You got to believe it. Trust God. I love you. Let's grow.